Sometimes a man is wrong. Oh, she took 5 steps. Oh, and she was stopped. Oh, it's one of those times. Oh, it's one of those times.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
All right, folks. Thank you for being here with me. Whoops. Oh, no. There we go. Thank you for being here with me. This is Michael Voss, the Dragon of the Southern Tier, your host here at No Soundbites Allowed. And I'm glad to be with you. I appreciate you. I thank you for being here and checking out the show. Hopefully you'll enjoy this. We're going to be talking about a touchy subject here today. Something that it came out on Wednesday, and it's gaining steam, and there's a lot of news on it today in the news media, on social media, Twitter. It's all over the place. You may have heard about it already. And this is about Bette Midler. And it's going to be about Bette Midler and her yet another racial or racially motivated tweet. And in particular, her comments that she had to say about, well, let's go right to the video about it. I'm going to go right to it so we can cover this properly. And I'm going to start off with an article which is from AOL, came out today, and today is July 26th. And the article's title is Kirstie Alley accuses Bette Midler of pure and real racism. That came out today. Now, and I'm just going right to the comments by Kirstie Alley and from Bette Midler. And Kirstie Alley, Bette Midler said, and you can see in the video, and those who look it up online, you'll see this. Bette Midler says 2 days ago, on the 24th, there's a photo of President Trump who is at a rally. And in the background, we can see several black supporters. And so she says, look, there are African American men in this shot. How much did he pay them to be, quote, Blackground, end quote. And I'm going to get to that comment in just 1 second, but Kirstie Alley responds, this is one of the most racist, degrading, quote, jokes, end quote, I've seen on Twitter. And that's saying a lot. We get it, Betty. You hate Trump, and that's your right. But to imply black men have to be paid to celebrate their own political views is pure and real racism. And, quote, Blackground, end quote, WTF. Well, that's a pretty strong statement from Kirstie Alley. And this is coming out of the Hollywood. And there are some Hollywood conservatives and Republicans who've stepped up to comment about this. And I have to stop for a second. The thing that pisses me off on this isn't so much the Blackground statement, which isn't pleasant, but I get it. It's a Hollywood thing. It's a liberal thing that, oh, look, we're playing with words, Blackground, background. Isn't that so cute? And it's not. But that's fine. And God forbid if a conservative Republican said it, then we'd hear nothing but how racist it is. But that's really not the big term. That's really not the big deal. I get it. That may be a joke, and it is insensitive, and it is insulting. But that's not the real problem here. Not to me. You may think I'm wrong here, but that's not it. No, the real problem is she's saying that black men are being paid. Now, first of all, as a black conservative Republican who has run for Congress, Bette Midler, if you happen to know where I can get paid for having my political views, please let me know. I'd like to check. I know lots of other black conservatives and black Republicans and even black libertarians that would love to get paid. Please let us know. Where is this mystery money coming from? Just because we don't agree with her political opinion, then obviously we must get paid because we're not smart enough. We're not intelligent enough. We don't have reasons to actually have a political opinion. And that brings us to the question, is this racist? And I can tell you that even supporters of the far left, supporters of democratic policies, places like The Root, which has an article, and I'm going to bring that up for you, an article that they put out yesterday, July 25th, which is Twitter spirals into chaos after MAGA gang finds Bette Midler guilty of first-degree racism. Really? Is that the way you're going with this? That this is about Twitter and these are gangs because they're all upset. Oh, how dare they be upset with Bette Midler? Well, the article isn't that positive, actually. And in fact, what they say in that article is that, and I'll quote it, well, S word, maybe she is racist, meaning Bette Midler. Wait, no, she's not. Sometimes a joke or comment is just tasteless or inappropriate. Sometimes it's just not your place to speak on certain matters. Sometimes the world would be a much better place if every Kyle or Kylie took 13 seconds to consider the consequences of their actions prior to parking their foot in their mouth or becoming a headline. And sometimes you just got to eat S and ride this one out on your own because clearly this is a pattern. So good luck with that, Betty or Bet, and hopefully you'll evolve into an actual ally instead of just playing one on social media. And this is highlighting something that we've seen several times with Bette Midler. And one of the reasons why I'm saying Game of Thrones, shame on Bette Midler. The worst kind of shame possible. And that is, this isn't new. She's made comments before, several times, that involve race and involve politics to try and make a point, to speak for black people. I've had people do this all the time, and it's always insulting to me. When they say, well, I'm speaking for black people. I'm speaking for black Americans. I am a black American. I've been in interviews at protests, in particular for Occupy Binghamton and Occupy New York, where I've had white people who are protesting look in my face and in my camera and say that they are there to represent minorities like myself who cannot speak for themselves, even though I'm there speaking, and even though I'm covering it, and even though I have a voice. This is an assumption, and this is the assumption that is being made by Bette Midler. And we see The Root, they're not quite supporting her, but they're defending her. And they're saying, well, we can't come out and say it's just wrong because how many other Democrats would also, and progressives and liberals, would also fall into being wrong for what they do and some of the things they say often, like Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Squad, as they like to be called. How many of their statements, if we were to judge them, as we should, and judge them on the same bar with Bette Midler, and can use the same standard that we do for conservatives. And this isn't a new thing, by the way. Black conservatives, black Republicans, there's a lot of them. You know why you don't hear about them? Because I can tell you, I've had conversations with them. Why won't more people come out and support? Why won't you make more statements? I'm out here doing this. And their answer is, and look at all the grief you get. Look at all the attacks that you get. Places like The Root, Twitter, Facebook, progressives, progressive leaders of tomorrow, Citizen Action, Indivisible New York, all attack me and are known. And they do that both on social media, in person. I've had, I don't know how many conversations. I've been told by some of their members that they would like to see me dead. This is a bunch of grief, all for the fact that I say I have a political opinion and it differs from yours. It's a different agreement. How often do you hear Democrats and progressives say that there's something wrong with being black and have an opinion that doesn't match a progressive demographic? That's constant. And, when I think about this and they say, well, sometimes it's tasteless, as the Roots article said. It's just tasteless. We can forgive that. What about Amos and Andy? At the time, some people felt it was tasteless. Back in 1943 to 1955, it was considered a tasteless program, but it was entertaining. Is that not racist? Because I think most people would agree, yes, it was. And let's actually look at this from another point of view. What is racism? Because I don't know how many times we hear people, they keep saying, well, this is racist, that's racist. We know that progressives like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democratic Socialists, the far left, they have their own way of making definitions. In fact, they've created a brand new definition of what is and is not racism. But what is the actual definition? Not what they feel like. Because we know Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in 60 Minutes made it very clear. She doesn't care what's factual. She believes in what is moral, what she feels is morally right. It's her feelings that are more important. And so when she defines, and many of the progressives and the socialist Democrats, when they define things, they define it by their feelings, not by what it is, but how they feel about it. That's Bette Midler right there. She's talking about how she feels about people being black and not agreeing with her personal political preference. What is racism? Racism is, according to Merriam-Webster, it is defined as a belief that race is the primary determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. Well, let's think about that for a second and consider it with Bette Midler, okay? When we think of what Bette Midler said, that black men had to be paid to be Republicans and at a Republican event. Well, she's determining that by the trait of the color of their skin. And she is saying that they don't have the capacities to be a Republican because of the color of their skin. Is that racist? Yes, that is very racist. Not the Blackground. What she's saying about black people supporting and being Republican. That is racist. And I understand, you want to talk about white privilege. I hear this a lot from college campuses, Binghamton University. I hear this from millennials a lot. And I hear, well, that's white privilege. Even a councilman, elected officials like Councilman Conrad Taylor in the city of Binghamton, who admitted and apologized for being white in an interview with me and said, no, he has white privilege. I don't believe in any of that because that's inherently racist. And we're seeing Bette Midler working from that same point of view, that same, quote, white privilege, that she can tell the race of black people and those individuals who happen to have different political beliefs than her own, that there's something wrong with them, that they have to be paid, that they're not genuine, which I find insulting. That I'm not genuinely believing in the Constitution, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, all of the things that I've spoken about, 2 million words that I've written, over 780 videos that I've put together. And she's telling me that's not genuine, that the 5 decades I've lived, well, they're not real. That's insulting. That's absolutely insulting. But not everyone agrees. Not everyone agrees about this. And, there's a YouTuber by the name of The Amazing Lucas. He's a good guy. I like some of the work that he does. And he has a different opinion on this, and I'll share it with you. I'm going to just go to the end of what he has to say here so that we can just go along. But
let's not do the same thing that Democrats do, which is dilute the power of words. Because I think that's a disservice. I think that's an injustice to when actual racism occurs. Anyways, guys,
that's The Amazing Lucas, and his video is Bette Midler Blackground tweet. And I'll include it in the links at the bottom of the description. But he's right. We don't want to dilute it. And he's right. The Blackground statement, Blackground, is not the important thing in the tweet. It's not about race. We see the media focusing on that because it is the least important part of the whole thing. It's not racist to say Blackground. It is racist to say that you are not intelligent enough, that you are not capable enough, that you don't have the capacity because of the skin color that you have to make a political preference. That is racist. And you know, when you see the LA Times, they help compound this. And the LA Times, in their article, which came out on the 25th at 12:26 p.m., Bette Midler slammed as racist for tweet about black Trump supporters. And where is their focus on this? The Blackground statement. Really? That's all they can focus on is the Blackground. That's not the important part. The focus in the mainstream media, the focus is being pushed towards that Blackground comment, which quite honestly is meaningless. That is the least important thing that she said. That isn't where the racism is. The racism is what the sentence that came before it, when she said, quote, how much did he pay them to be Blackground? That's it. How much did he pay them to be black Republicans and conservatives at a Republican event? That is the insulting thing. And you know, when people say to me, well, Mike, you know, that's just the truth. There are no blacks who are conservatives. And you know, every time I hear stuff like that, I always have to look. This is just a Google search. And what did I look up? I looked up black support Trump. Just look. There are plenty of pictures. There are plenty of pictures that you can go through and you can find supporters and individuals who are black Republicans. They're all over the place. It's a simple Google search. It takes 5 seconds. You can look and see it yourself. It's not something that's so strange and so unusual. But I want to go, this reminds me of something that a lot of people probably don't remember, but I do. Part of the 2 million words that I've written over the last 12 years was an article that I did back in 2015. Okay? Back in 2015, I wrote an article. It was actually April 21st of 2015. Don't miss Stephen A. Smith's point. Black political obscurity is self-inflicted. Now, a lot of people may not remember that Stephen A. Smith, who's a figurehead on ESPN, who doesn't usually talk about politics at all, came out and made some very strong statements in 2015, getting ready for the 2016 election, the presidential election. And he was talking about what it is to be black and to have a political opinion, and how Democrats have lived up to that opinion. And it won't take much longer, but I do want to highlight this because it's important. And in that article, I noted, and it's something that's important to know, the voting aspect of this relatively is easy to prove, that African Americans vote almost uniformly Democrat. Since 1984, there has not been a presidential election where a Republican has garnered more than 17% of the black vote since 1976. There has not been a Democrat that has ever received less than 83% of the black vote in a presidential race. As a comparison, from 1936 to 1960, Republicans had never received less than 24% of the black vote in a presidential race, with 1948 being the peak at 44%. Now that says a lot. That says a lot about what's going on. But the thing that gets me is, what did Stephen Miller say? Stephen Smith, what did he say? And I quote him, quote, black folks in America are telling one party, we don't give a damn about you. They're telling the other party, you got our vote. Therefore, you have labeled yourself disenfranchised because one party knows they've got you under their thumb. The other party knows they'll never get you and nobody comes to address your interests. I want you to think about that for a second and put it in context with what's going on with Bette Midler. We have one party, the Democratic Party, the Democratic Socialist Progressive Party, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib. This group have grown up knowing only one thing. If you're black, you must be Democrat, which is inherently just vile, because there's absolutely nothing that prevents anyone of any color, any ethnicity, of holding a particular, this or any other political point of view. But they've grown up believing that that must be true, and that every single black conservative Republican that has come out has been ostracized and attacked, reinforcing you must be Democrat. And Stephen Smith is looking at this and saying, hey, this isn't a good thing. This doesn't make you more powerful or more involved. It makes you a tool. It makes you useless. Bette Midler sees and grew up with that same mindset. And she's seeing, oh, there are people who aren't being ostracized for being black and conservative. There are people who are being seen visibly, nationally, that are black and Republican, black and conservative, and actively supporting, openly supporting a president she doesn't like. That means that that number may change. That suddenly a Democrat in a presidential election may get less than 83%, which means they would probably lose. Literally, if you only saw the number of black people voting Republican increased by 10%, Democrats would lose. They would lose presidential races. They would lose almost every single race in Congress and the federal government. They'd lose races left and right just by losing 10% of the black vote. That tells you a lot. And that's where Bette Midler is coming from, I believe. She's ostracizing and attacking people for having a different point of view, because from her privileged point of view, and when I say privileged, not because she's white, because she's a Hollywood star who makes millions of dollars being an actress, living a life that no one in America really gets to have. The average American's never going to have her life. So she is privileged in that respect. And this privileged woman is terrified that 10% of the black community might actually say, we have an opinion and it's different than what we were told to have. And she doesn't want you to do it. And she's willing to strike out and attack. And she's willing to say whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Because for her, it's about making sure people stay in line. I mean, remember, this is Bette Midler when she made her statement in October of 2018, I believe it was, when she said, a tweet which she has since deleted, that women are the N-world of the world. That's right. Women are the N-world of the world, which was highly, it just made people angry everywhere. And the public, literally, there was a massive backlash. Black women were highly incensed by this. And then, oops, I'm in the wrong thing. There it is. And the community, the public, were highly incensed by this. And she deleted that. But the point remains. Why is Bette Midler deserving of a Game of Thrones shame? What is the big deal here? Well, I agree with the amazing Lucas in that words matter and words are important. And when people say things, we shouldn't dilute them. Everything in the world is not racism. The Root disagrees with me. They start their article on this issue by saying that, and I'll show you in just a second, and they start off by saying, yes, everything is about race. No, it's not. Everything isn't about race. Everything is about individual decisions. And it is about whether or not people can force you to believe what they want you to believe. And I do think it's racist to say that if you disagree with someone's point of view and you happen to be a different color than them, that you don't have a choice. That's wrong. Stephen A. Miller in 2015 agreed with me. He said, you want to see things change for minorities in America? Let them vote Republican just once in a presidential election. Just one time. And you know what? No one's ever dared done that. The black community, the Hispanic community, you've never seen them all vote en masse, 60, 70% vote en masse Republican since the 1960s. And if they did, I guarantee you, you would see America change. You would see a lot of things change. But, you know, this is a bit of a rant. I'm going to let it end here. Let me know what you think. Am I right? Is it racist to say, based on someone's skin color, that they can or cannot have a certain political belief? Is it racist? Is the most important thing that, or the most aggravating thing that Bette Midler said, was it the Blackground? Or was it that she said that people have to be paid to have a political belief if they have a skin color that isn't hers? Where do you fall on this? I want to hear your thoughts. Please, speak up. And I'm Michael Voss. This is No Soundbites Allowed, and I look forward to hearing from you and what you think. Thank you.